Take two. So my phone had a moment and deleted the whatever. It's fine. So I want to talk about the market, right? So we're starting to see some interesting things happen. We've been calling them like red flags in the market. Let me readjust this just a hair. And we're kind of seeing some of them appear, right? So we have the Spider-Man collector boxes. They're tanking in value. The Spider-Man play boxes, they're going way down in value. These items are starting to borderline being sold, quote unquote, at MSRP or cost. The play boxes are exceptionally close to cost. I want to say they're like low 800s, like if you were paying like actual cost from distribution. I had to pay, it was like 900 something a case is what I ended up paying from MVP. They had them priced fairly aggressively. I know they were priced a little bit higher than the rest of distribution networks, but again, we're right there. Even if you sell a case, you're still losing $70, $80 from fees. You got to pay for shipping. It's probably a loss, even if you're at cost. So we've hit that like oof moment, right? Like this used to happen fairly regularly on Magic releases for play boxes. They would release, they would tank, they'd kind of restabilize based on like playability and demand. They'd go up or down, they kind of fiddle and twiddle about, and they'd kind of just flip. And we're seeing this kind of return a little bit, right? Which is fantastic. The play boxes are down substantially. They were over $200. The collector boxes were almost $1,000. They're down to $540, $520, somewhere in there. Technically, MSRP on those is like $500, I want to say. MSRP. But the interesting thing is this is starting to rebound into other markets, right? Like Super Slam just came out. Bam! Super Slam. So you're seeing this kind of rebound in other markets. Super Slam is down substantially. It was pre-ordering for $450 something a case, I want to say. My allocation was cut heavily. I went from, for example, the Hunted, I had almost 250 cases. I went down to, I guess it was High Seas right after that. At High Seas, I was down to, I think we had 600 boxes total. I needed 100 elsewhere, plus my damaged. I was barely, I think I was right around 100 cases, what I ended up being. It was like 100, 125 cases. By the time I opened I did a small opening, not even up to my master set. I had some stuff left over. I had some, I got my gems, we're all good to go. But, now the boxes or the cases are down to 350. Then they're going lower and lower. So it's interesting. We're seeing these retracements occur in multiple markets and multiple places now. The interesting thing about this is Pokemon, right? It doesn't seem to stop, which makes zero sense. Now, as an example, when I sold my Surging Sparks cases, I did a couple of them at the time because it was still available. Whatever. I sold a couple to people. They made their money. Some people opened them. One of the guys that opened them pulled the Pikachu. I lost Pikachu, man. I love Pikachu. I have a Pikachu plushie on my desk. I have a Pikachu chef in my kitchen from Japan. Like, it's my boy. So, I'm like, okay, man, I'd really like that. I want this. You know what? I'm having a weird tism moment about this. I just want my Pikachu. It was in my case, and I want my Pikachu. I don't want any other Pikachu. I just want my Pikachu. So I make a deal with him for 151 Zard. I'm like, hey, I'll trade you a 151 Zard for the Pikachu. The Pikachu is slightly higher right now, but I gave you guys a banger deal on the case. Like, it was an insane deal in the case. I was like, just throw me a bone, hook me up a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm not asking for a massive discount. It's something you want. You and I both agree the Zard will probably do better in the long run. Lo and behold, this little turd, beautiful card. I adore it. This one's mine. It came out of my case. As silly as that is, this was mine. I sold it unknowingly for a little over, I think it was like $650, I think, for the case, or $7 at the time, I think. Something like that. It was actually really cheap. I traded my Zard, which was, at the time, I think I paid $780 plus taxes and shipping, so it was a little over $800 by the time I was at my house, for said Pikachu. At the time, the Pikachu, I think, was like $880. It was like an $80 advantage trade for me. The Pikachu went down, the Zard went up, and they kind of did this little flippy-floppy thing. And this went as cheap as, I think it was like 600 something bucks. And I almost bought a second one when that happened. I was like, man, do I want a second one so I can sell the other one and keep mine? Because, that's some degenerate stuff right there. I didn't do that. slight regret. It's fine. But this Pikachu is now selling for $1,300 plus. That's a 50% gain from when I traded it at its near high. That's crazy. Like, that's so mind-bogglingly crazy. And that was 4 or 5 months ago. Like, we're not even a half a year. Like, this was in the last 4 or 5 months. Like, that's insane. Like, that's so insane to me that this did this. And then you go look at the 151 Zard. I ended up picking up another one because, you know, my wife and I, we open up 151 on our anniversary. Might have to rethink that with how those prices are going. And, you know, we have acquired another one. I paid, God, what was it? I picked up the Blastoise and the Zard from another vendor, and this was in Charlotte, I think. It was in Charlotte. And the guy gave me a banger deal. He gave me the Blastoise and the Zard for $900. And I remember this vividly because I was like, dude, bet 1 second, I'll be back. Huge shout out to that dude. I love you. I don't remember your name, but thank you. I appreciate it. It was an amazing deal. It's for my wife. I have not resold them. I will not resell them. It's currently sitting in the case getting built up until I have the full set to present to my lovely wife. We're working on a master set of this. I'm slowly putting it together as we open stuff. Again, we might have to reevaluate things and maybe buy some singles instead of opening sealed because, good God, the prices are... Whew. My other goal was to have 2 of every SKU. That way my wife and I could eventually sell one of them and pay for a really nice vacation or something. I don't know. Again, like a nice anniversary trip. I could sell 1 of every SKU to someone for, I don't know, 10 or 15 grand in 10 years or something. Do a nice 10-year anniversary thing. It'd be kind of cool. But these prices just keep going up. The Zard is now selling for $1,400. $1,330, $1,375, $1,350, $1,400. These are all like last sold ranges. This is crazy. These are 50+% gains on these cards. And it's not just the Zard that's doing this. The Charmeleon, the Charmander, the Ivysaur, the Venusaur, like they're all going up at astronomical rates. And it's insane to me. And again, I have this mentality with these because I don't care necessarily about how much they cost. I'm holding them for a very long time. I don't care. I just want the full set because my wife and I love it. It's the stuff that we grew up on. I want this, right? This is something for me personally and for her. I don't care if, I don't care. I just want to get a discount when I buy it at the time and I'll slowly put it together. As I knock out these expensive ones, we get better and better and a little more better to pricing. And, you know, we get into the cheaper stuff and the cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper stuff. Pretty soon I'm just dropping a couple $100 to pick up 3 or 4 slabs, which I'm fine with. You know, it's not spending $2 grand to get 6 or 7 slabs in a weekend. Like, I've got most of the big ones now. But on that note, if you happen to have 151 PSA 10 slabs, please let me know. I am buying them. If I don't have the slab, I would love to have the slab. And I'll buy the ones that I do have doubles of because I'll just go sell them on the show. Maybe we have like a commission thing going and we'll do some tradesies. I don't know, some shenanigans. But it is a interesting thing to watch because I've been in this market for a half a decade now. I've been buying and selling TCGs since 2019. You know, actually it's over a half a decade. Jeez, whew, good Lord. You know, I've bought cards in the 90s as a kid. My mom bought them for me. I opened up the packs. I remember opening up base set 2 and base set packs. Lord, it would be great to have those now. Whatever. They were all unlimited, of course, but it's fine. I remember opening up Fossil and Jungle and Team Rocket. I remember seeing the booster boxes as a kid, and the guy in the store on the mall would grab packs and hand them to me, and I'd open stuff, and I eventually pulled the Venusaur. That was like my big hit. So I imagine one day I'll go get an unlimited PSA 10 Venusaur or something to throw into my collection because, you know, nostalgia. But the red flags in this market with the side SKUs going down, Magic starting to return back to normal, Pokemon insistently just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. In November last year, when I started tracking this stuff, the average Scarlet Violet box price was hardly over $100. It was like $120 or something like that. Which means every single set up to Surging Sparks, which I think is 8? Yeah, SV8. SV08. So 8 sets, and this was with Surging Sparks like at MSRP at this point, right? It was like $120 something for the box averages, maybe like 130, somewhere in there. We're now at an average box price of $323 per box. That means if you went and bought all 10 boxes, just one, you're going to spend $3,200. That's a 3x almost in less than a year. This is insane, and it doesn't seem to be stopping, which makes no sense to me. So I don't know what's going to be the ultimate catalyst, because again, we're rolling into the holidays. Stores are buying up inventory like crazy because, like I know, all the holiday spending is going to start occurring in November and December, which means we're going to start seeing discretionary spending increase. People are going to start putting money on their credit cards for Christmas. I wouldn't suggest doing that, but people are going to do it anyway. So, spend responsibly. Then we're going to roll into January. Everyone's going to be like, okay, spent so much money on Christmas. Oh, it hurts. Oh, my heart palpitations. And that's what's going to happen. And the market's going to cool off naturally around that time. And then tax season is going to hit. So all these guys that have been buying and flipping, and we've now seen 2 to 3x minimum price increases, because again, this is another 3 or 4 months away. And I see zero reason why we don't see the average Scarlet Violet box price climb up to like 360, 370 in that time frame. Even with some retracements and reprints on Destin and Journey and these other boxes that are also now steadily climbing, we're going to see the retracement occur finally when that happens. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like, and it may not even matter at all, which is the really, really scary thing. Because if it literally doesn't even matter that the tax season happens and the cool down happens after the holidays, if that doesn't even matter and the market just keeps going, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm just straight up going to be at that point just like, flip table, I'm out, I don't know what's going on. This is just straight insanity. I'm just going to deploy every dollar and everything and just start trying to 10% margin everything. Sell 10 boxes, keep a box. Sell 10 boxes, keep a box. I'm just going to start doing that, because that's the only thing I'm going to know how to do at that point. You just keep inventory moving so fast, it doesn't even matter at that point. Whenever the crash happens, you've picked up so much inventory, and if the crash never happens, like, what do you even do at that point? So I don't know. We have a very interesting and terrifying market. We have signals of it calming down, but then signals of it not. It's a very interesting market. I think Rudy summed it up very well. This is the bull run of the decade / ever industry. It is insane. And it doesn't make sense, which is probably why it does make sense. So I think the only thing you can do at this point is just keep buying things. Like, as weird as that is, and as terrifying as that is to say, I think that is honestly the only thing that you can do, is just keep buying things. And it's like so painful to say that, but I really do feel like that's just kind of like where we're at. It doesn't make sense. I don't know when it's going to cool off. It will eventually cool off, and we will return to sanity at some point. I don't know if the Pokemon Company is just like withholding 200 million booster boxes to just flood the market with in November and December for the holidays. God, I hope so, because I will buy 5 cases of Destin Rivals. I will buy 4 more cases of Journey. So I have my 5-case allocations of all of them except for SVO4, which I regrettably did not acquire my 5 cases on. I have 2 of the 5. And I learned recently when I did an inventory audit, fun fact, I accidentally, well, I don't know if it was an accident, I purchased enough cases. When I did that big Pokemon buy earlier this year, I think, or late last year. It might have been late last year, when the last TCG player sale happened. And I picked up tons of cases. I picked up so many boxes of Pokemon. I think it was last year. Apparently, I got shipped a SVO2 case instead of an SVO3 case. And I didn't realize it at the time. It turned out to be kind of a big W, because I now have 6 cases of SVO2, which is the highest priced Scarlet Violet box in the whole lineup, which is hilarious. I think eventually Destin Rivals will pass it, but it needs to get out of print, needs to get its printing done, it needs to kind of get smashed and beaten around a little bit, and we'll see some normalcy return there. But I do think eventually Destin Rivals will be past SVO2. It is very clear, though, that Paldea Evolved is the current winner and dominator of the market. This is mostly due to the Magic cart being very sought after. It's very hard to grade. A lot of them come out of the pack with a lot of corner damage and other goofiness. It's probably just like a dull blade on the printer when they were getting cut. It happens. The PSA 10s sell for oh god, 2.5 to 3 grand, I think. Is there was a sale today for 3,300 and a bunch more in like 23, 24, 2,500. But the card raw is just a couple $100. Like $250, $300, I think, is what the price charting has on it. I didn't look into the raw price how much that was. It might be 300 or 400 by now. I don't know. But either way, when you see a $2,000 gain grading a card from a raw to a 10, that's some insane premiums. You can buy a whole case of Paldea Evolved if you grade a PSA 10 Magikarp right now, which is bananas. So again, we're seeing these concerning things in the market, but it doesn't seem to stop or matter. So I think I think you just have to keep buying. I don't know. It's pretty terrifying. So we're gonna kind of wrap this up because my other video died because I ran out of storage space on my phone. I do have a new phone case finally. So if you ever did see me at shows, my phone looked horrendous. I was missing like half my case. My new phone case is a little more slim. It fits into the holder better. You know, a little bit nicer. Hopefully there's no more awkward phone drops like the video from last Friday. But anyway, on that note, guys, this market's insane. I don't understand it. Just keep buying stuff. It'll work out eventually, hopefully. Not investment advice, all that crap. Sell me your PSA 151 slabs, 10s only. I'll buy the 9s for raw. I don't really care. Yeah, just hit me up. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, bye, guys.